Hello, and welcome back to Part 6 in Slices, Batch 2. I'm Sam.
And I'm Jim, and we're watching part 6, JoJo, Batch 2. Netflix brought it back. We're here.
Stone Ocean is back, baby.
Yeah.
In the worst arc.
Yep. We are talking about what episodes today?
15 and 16, the Survivor slash...
Planet Waves.
Yes.
What's it called in this? Heavenly?
It's a planetary waves, I think it was, or something.
Something like that.
But yeah, we're back. This is... So wait, how does
Did we say who we are? Did we say?
Yeah, I'm Sam.
I'm Jim.
So yeah, we are into the... Like we said, this arc, we have introduction of Anasui, and...
We do have... I mean, he technically was around.
The first, I guess, character motivation of Anasui.
Yeah, we actually get, like, a real dive into his character. I'm sorry for the pun. That was an accident.
We also get a little bit of a intro. So the first episode, 3 episodes, it's called the Ultra Security House Unit, and then the Secret of Guard Westwood. So basically, we get a little intro with like the bone stuff. This is the first. We have a little mentioned before, but this is like the first this is the bone of Dio. Sports Max.
Dio's boner.
Here's Dio's dick bone. And I want you to make it come alive. Like, I already did it. Then where did the bone go? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
Funny because at first Poochie's like, oh shit, my hand. And then he's like, actually, this is good.
This is great. For mysterious reasons, I am loving this.
Basically.
And yeah, we kind of also get some Dio stuff as well.
So we have the whole Survivor scene,
yes.
Right?
Basically, Dio introduces the stand of Survivor, essentially. And, well, it might be a little bit later because we get the Anasui stuff, but I just want to talk about this Dio stuff because that's, like, the only time we see him in this arc.
Yeah.
Which, he looks so weird differently now, like, compared to, like, Part 3 and Part 1 Dio. He's, like, a very young, hot young Dio.
Yeah, I like this design. I mean, because we're edging closer to Diego,
yes.
Which is my favorite Dio design. But
yes.
This is probably, I mean, it ranges. Sometimes there was a few shots, and I think we saw this in the first batch of Part 6. His face was like covered in shadow, and it just didn't look quite right to me.
It can't be Part 3 Shadow Face Dio.
Yeah, where it's just a fucking dark mark on his
void.
face. A void. Yeah. This one is fine though. Like some shots of him look like a lot better.
Yes,
but I like the younger sexy Dio. Also, I do want to bring up how it's kind of funny. They do canonically talk about the discs.
Yes.
And this would have been in, what, 87? Because
the bite of 87, yes.
Because isn't that when Part 3 takes place? It takes place in 87, I think. So, and this would, like, specifically need to take place, like, no earlier than 2 years before Part 3. So, compact discs really did not exist at that time, as far as I understand. Maybe laser discs did. I'm trying to think of when laser discs.
Part 3 was 88 to 89.
Okay. I'm not sure when laser discs really became a thing, but I just think it's kind of funny that they talk about the discs.
So in 1982 was the introduction of compact discs in Japan.
All right, maybe I'm full of bullshit.
And in March 1983 in Europe.
Maybe I'm full of bullshit. I thought for sure that compact discs weren't until the 90s, but maybe that was just wide use. Because I mean, I just think of like,
but we had cassettes for like until like the 90s. Like the 90s when like the CD age really kicked off, I feel.
And as far as just information storing, floppy disks were much more used.
imagine if Whitesnake had floppy disks.
Now that would be interesting.
But yeah, it's so weird because like it's thinking like. I guess his stand came out like he probably had a stand since he was a young. I would imagine he was young, unless he got the later when he met Dio gave him a stand. But...
I think Dio gives him the stand, doesn't he? Doesn't he make him do the arrow or something?
Probably. My memory's very iffy with this arc.
Yeah,
so.
I forget because I know later on we see their introduction, and I thought Dio like strategically like makes him cut himself on the arrow.
Oops.
Doesn't he like make him he like reaches under or something and like touches the arrow and that's when he meets that man?
That man. Maybe. But no, so before we talk about Ant, because that's gonna be another can of worms. Let's talk about Dio talking about Survivor because he names it as the weakest stand. How do you feel about that?
I understand.
Do you believe? Because like it's the weakest stand because you can't really control it, but there's a bunch of stands you can't control as well.
I think I don't know. I understand why he says why he answers this, and like Dio even says like a king is a king has his specialties and like a cook has his specialties. Like any stand can be used to its fullest by anyone. Like it's like the user's ability to use. So you, like someone like Okuyasu has probably one of the strongest stands, but doesn't use it like
He's
that
an
because
idiot.
he doesn't quite understand it. But I don't know. Like I can see why like the effect of Survivor, like the actual like ability that it triggers is powerful, but it has to like operate under specific conditions.
Needs wetness.
Yeah, it needs wetness to like transfer.
A hint of anger.
Because like what he describes like the activation is like a very weak electrical pulse.
Yes.
So I can understand why he would say it. And like it's hard to even get the stand's ability to work.
It's so heavily detailed and and convoluted. Like this is how it works. I'm just like you could just say it just makes people mad in the AOE effect of it, and everybody be like, yeah, that's fine.
This is one of the times where I like the specificity.
It's so funny.
I like the weird ability that it opens in your brain where you can like see other people's like strong and weak points.
It opens the other percentage of your brain.
Yeah, so you can like see muscles, and it's a lot of really cool visuals, honestly.
And like make you like have stupid strength, like to just punch their bones out and punch people's like skin off. And
yeah, I like the idea of like,
cause like
you're not holding back in a fight.
Someone got their tooth knocked out in that one example fight and just cracked a stone.
Yeah, it was like either punch so hard that it like pierced its way into a stone, or maybe he bit down on the stone. It's interesting. Like I like that kind of setup for it of like, oh, a bunch of hikers in France all killed each other. Like that's just an interesting little way to frame.
But yeah, so it just needs like, a puddle, I guess, and conveniently that's when, because Poochie put this plan out to have assassins in there, so I guess he knew that they like love to hose down the entire area of this.
It's really stupid.
They not just the prisoners, but literally the entire like lobby, I guess, or the front area of all these cells.
They just made a huge mess, which I think it's funny. They could have, like, Rocky could have done this in any way. He could have had there been a fire and had the sprinklers go off. He could have just had the fire sprinklers accidentally go off. Like,
yeah,
it's such a weird thing. Oh yeah, these guys go from door to door hosing the inmates down.
Because this massive security guard is literal a standalone building on the edge of the prison.
Yeah.
So do you think it is the weakest stand in the main universe?
If we're talking about like
weaker than the sun.
No, I think the sun's stronger. If we were to actually like put like if you were to 1v1 with someone and your ability is survivor, you're probably not going to win. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, you can't control the survivor either. That's the thing.
That's the ultimate problem with it. It's not like a stand that gives you an advantage in anything.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of stands you can't really control. Like BIG you can't control, but like
it's really cool the way that it's used here, because it's about like sicking it on someone, like,
it's like
using it to like disadvantage another party.
I think of a better version of that. It's what's it called? Cheap Trick. Of like you can't really control it and it just latches onto whoever is like closest. Like
yeah, Cheap Trick doesn't provide any benefits though, which Survivor does inherently give you. It does like increase your abilities to an extent.
It's like a literal like adrenaline injection as well.
The thing that's weird
it's the pill. It's just the pill from Limitless.
Limitless, yeah. I think the weirdest thing though is like everybody's affected by it.
Yeah.
So it makes everybody do it.
The user is affected.
So ultimately, it kind of levels the playing field. That's kind of the thing about it that's weird, and it doesn't really like benefit our protagonist at all.
No.
But it does provide like an interesting like kind of leveling of the playing field.
Yeah.
Because at first you think that the user of Planet Waves isn't actually a stand user, and he's just a dude.
He's a dude affected, or maybe he is like the guy who has Survivor, but he's just like under the effect of it because we learn you can't control it. It'd probably say that probably affect the user much like how Fugo can be affected by his stand.
Exactly. I don't know if I'm just misremembering, but I thought within like maybe it's in like the what's it called, like the explanation text on like the page in the manga, but I remember it like specifically saying like it does not provide the user any advantage and the user itself is affected. Like,
yes.
I don't remember if that was clarified in the manga, but it isn't really mentioned here, but you could just kind of use your
imagination.
Yeah, use your brain of how the stand works.
But I do like hearing a little like a story about this is like a little like horror story. It kind of reminds me of the what's it called? The one Russian pass incident where you don't really know what happened to him, but it's a stand. Like, it could have been like that.
It's really clever. I think it's one of those really good like little world building-y things of like, oh yeah, like mysterious things in the world are attributed to Stan. Like you can attribute those to like Stans.
like what Morio is now by the end of part 4, where it's just like
Yeah.
a bunch of fucking weird Stan bullshit that happened.
You can't turn like a corner without running into like a weird
Angelo Rock, the
Yeah.
boing boing.
cape.
Yeah.
The horrifying like what's it? The alleyway to hell. Yeah.
That's not Stan related though.
But it's still like how weird.
The cursed electrical
aspects.
tower that's there.
Yeah.
The weird just Rohan in general, interacting with Kishibe Rohan, but like so we have to talk about the introduction, or like it's a real first introduction to Anasui, because FF goes to Emporio, and like I need to get to Jolene. Hermes is in a coma. Weather is in a coma. We need to like get to her, and then they get Anasui because like, oh yeah, don't listen to him. He won't help you. He just works on his own. He doesn't help anybody.
Emperor talks about how he won't help them so much that eventually Anasui's just like, oh yeah, I'll help because I want to marry Jolene. It's like, all right.
Okay, so
I don't like Anasui.
yeah, I don't like him either.
I don't like this character.
Anastasia.
Anastasia Narancia.
But I never liked this character. Like, I love the design of the female Anasui. That's it. But like because this is a weird fucking character, because like it's one of the things like they're friends with or using a psychopath, because this person, as we see in the flashback of like the backstory, you know, it has to disassemble everything, and also just disassembled human beings. It's fucked up.
See, Anasui is just a sociopath.
Yes.
That is the way that I don't know.
He's also
maybe he's a psychopath. Maybe he's just a psychopath.
probably both. A little bit column A, a little
I
bit
guess you
column
could
B.
technically be both.
He's a full round psychopath, sociopath. Like he is a killer. He disassembled like
he doesn't seem to have any and not regret, but he certainly doesn't have regret. But he doesn't even like seem to have a conception of other people's feelings. Like he just is like, oh, I'm doing this for myself. I'm going to marry Jolene.
What?
She interests me.
It's
I think is
literal harem character syndrome of, oh my god, she said one word and I fucking love you, and I'm like, you do not, like, this is not a match. People, it's a weird thing. I see people in JoJo community like love Anasui, love this pairing. I'm like, they're like, oh my god, they're so cute together. I'm like, no.
He's a murderer.
No, yeah, like.
I disagree with this character as a murderer.
This is a murderer. Like, Jolene should not have this man. This man has zero likability to him, other than just being a fucking JoJo.
Jolene's also an accessory to murder, but
Accessory murderer. She likes Weather, who I also think is just a weird. It's just like pairings that don't have any chemistry, and this is like both of them have zero chemistry.
Unlike Jotaro and Kakyoin, who they have an incredible amount of chemistry.
Abdul and
Joseph.
Polnareff.
Oh, I guess them too. Abdul is
They piss together in a man's mouth, Jim. That's nothing more closer bond than that.
They even held each other's dicks.
Probably. They both shake it off.
But yeah, it's just I just don't like him. I don't like the pairing. I don't like the character. I'm not looking forward to him ruining my favorite fight.
Shut up. So I'm just curious, if you are a fan of Anasui, what do you honestly like about him?
He's epic. His stand's epic. He's cool.
His stand's not even epic.
He
should have Joshu stand.
His stand does have the ability that other stands should inherently have, which is to pass through solid objects.
Yeah,
I know we've been over this. It's not actually an ability the stands have, but they do demonstrate it sometimes.
But this is just more of his gimmick and everything. And I was like, man, I didn't even think about it. Like, he really should have had the disassembly stand of
Joshu.
Nut King Call is like the perfect stand for Anasui, and I feel like Joshu would be perfect to have Diver Down. Of like going into some objects without like their consent,
sneaking into the girls' bathroom.
Yeah,
girls' changing room.
But like, I don't know. He's just like a character with like weird motivation of just being randomly obsessed with it. I guess it's supposed to be like a psychopath serial killer who's obsessed with a victim or something. Like I guess what they're going for.
Yeah, I just don't care for it.
Why is he hanging out with Emporio? And he said Weather's the only person that controls him. And I'm like thinking in hindsight, like, does he?
Yeah, I don't understand their chemistry either.
Yeah, because the only chemistry we ever see them is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, so it's like after the fact.
Yes, and after that, like fucking Weather will not give a shit about anything because that's when he becomes Chad Weather.
I do kind of like the situation we're in now, where it's like, Jolene is in such a dire situation and nobody can help her. Like everyone else is like incapacitated. It's kind of it feels like there's stakes. Like
Yeah.
it feels like no one can really come to her help, and then that's what we have Narancha or
Narancha.
Honestly,
I love Foo Fighters being the one like, okay, I gotta be the one to take charge and get in there, and I have to use this fucking deviant and help me. And like, there's a cool thing of like seeing him like beat up like all the guards to get his way through there. Like, I like him climbing Diver down. Also, I always felt like, man, with Dio in this part, it'd be really cool to call his stand Holy Diver instead of Diver Down.
I agree.
Or deep. It was a Diver Deep.
I think Diver Down is a Diver Drive.
Diver Drive. That's
I think Diver Down's an Aerosmith reference.
I can look it up real quick.
Which also another check against it because lame. It should be Holy Diver, as you said.
Or you said Narancha. You said Narancha, who also had Aerosmith.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's where the connection is. But yeah. So I mean, I have to say, animation in this episode is in these two episodes, is pretty good. Like as you said, the part where Narancha's kind of flipping and zipping around. Did I say Narancha? I said Narancha again.
It's a Van Halen album.
Also L, big L.
You know, not a Van Halen guy.
I'm not a huge Halen fan.
I like Eddie Van Halen's guitar playing, but not many of their songs.
Yeah, I like Panama, Hot for Teacher.
I'm pretty sure he plays guitar for Beat It, for Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah?
Beat It. He does the solo, I believe.
Interesting.
But
does he play the song for Eat It by Weird Al Yankovic?
Probably would if Weird Al asked. He probably would. Everybody loves Weird Al. Which
it's true.
But what's it called? Yeah, it definitely let us know what you find charming about Anasui.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. It's weird that his stand, like I said, his stand's weird. Also, the design I always thought was weird. Of like actually,
I like the design,
actually looking like a diver, but like this does not fit. Why does this guy like? I guess puts like manifest somebody, but I guess it's just a weird thing because like Jolene her stand has sunglasses despite her never wearing sunglasses.
It's all just bullshit. I mean, like all the stand designs are
why
just
does Star Platinum have his hair out all the time when JoJo never takes off his hat?
It's what he wants to do. It's what the inside of Jotaro wants to show the outside
inside
of
Jotaro wants. He wants his hair to be free.
I don't know. It's the stands are bullshit. They're just fun.
It is.
They're silly. They're fun, silly little guys.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Also, this is the one frame of Diver Down squinting is very funny.
That was very fucking funny. That feels like a betrayal of the design.
I feel like I think that's okay. The design where the face doesn't really change. If it just squints.
Like, no, the one set of dots just squints.
So funny.
Yeah, that was really stupid.
If you didn't see, like, rewind that part where he goes in to go like kick the door. I think it was, and he squints,
yeah,
or to kick the wall to summon the guards.
Yeah.
But yeah, then basically the main event is just. I forgot a lot about this fight. This is probably one of the fights I forgot the most about.
I remember we just mentioned it last episode, but I actually watched a leitmotif of it kind of recently, like past year.
Did it play
or so.
Survivor or did it play Planet Waves?
I think it played Planet Waves.
Or it played both, or one of those that played like
it may
two.
have been one that does both.
Okay.
There's sometimes they'll switch it up. But I remember the gist of it. Like, I did forget that it was the guard. That's kind of like a subversion because they show a bunch of. We get like the whole tease that Poochie's like, "Oh, I sent 4 stand users to attack her," then the least conspicuous one is actually one of the stand users.
We get like Jolene's like pretends to be scared when the light comes in. Like, I'm going and eats like mushrooms off the fucking bed.
That part's really funny.
But yeah, she also like when the doors open, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna search for the bone blindly with my string."
Just hoping for some reason that the bone is nearby.
And I'm thinking like, man, imagine if like one of the other 3 stand users or the 2 other stand users just like looking at their little bar and seeing the string wiggle around. Like, what the fuck?
It's like a little snake going around.
And then yeah, but that's when we have the weird like Giorno haired guy. Like that weird ugly guard with like it's like Abdul and Giorno hair combined.
He's like a
one.
Big ugly bastard version of
Florida man Giorno.
If Giorno drank the tap water,
he drank the sewage water, as they love talking about the sewage water of this.
But so they have their funny little fight.
They have fight arguments. The guy gets. They get into a fight. The guy gets fucking mouth punched off. But also, they just like we also see like we know that you could just like punch your bones out and everything of like how your strength goes. I'm like, ugh.
It's pretty brutal. Normally the JoJo gore is a little silly, and it does get silly with this, like the way that Jolene's blood starts spewing out of her body.
I just thought it might be the biggest fight where like the Joestar gets the most battle damage. It's not like a final fight damage.
Yeah, she gets really fucked up.
This is for like a minor villain of the week kind of fight. This is probably the most like fucked up they get.
It makes sense that she doesn't like fight the next two.
maybe Doppio in the Metallica arc gets royally fucked up a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how he recovered like from that at all without a healer.
He just put his other mask on.
He had more blood infusion. But
doesn't he like literally eat the frogs and like drink the child's blood? Doesn't that
consume the child?
isn't that like literally how he wins?
No, he wins by having Narancia just fucking gun.
Well, that's true, but he eats frogs and like drinks blood so that he can restore the
I think so.
the iron in his body.
I guess that's how that works.
Yeah, frogs contain heavy amounts of
They
iron.
had the same blood type, or like since I have two people in me, I had two different blood types.
It is really hilarious to think that like you eat blood and it immediately becomes your blood.
Oh yeah, also
like,
that's not how blood works.
You
have to get it injected into your bloodstream and not like consumed in your mouth.
Yeah,
he pours it into his wounds.
Like it would need to go through your digestive system for like your body.
You're gonna be pissing blood. You're not gonna be like
when you drink water. This kind of blew my mind recently. When you drink water, you don't pee out that water. Like the water goes into your blood. It goes into your body, and then those
you're pissing out the stuff that's not
wanted. Those toxins become.
We're gonna piss cast.
Well, PSIS. This is PSIS. If you remember, the anagram for the show, or sorry, the initialism for the show is PSIS.
PSIS.
So PSIS.
But
Part 6 and slices.
6 and slices. The sis.
PSIS.
But let's not talk about piss anymore. But we get the fight, and we kind of just like. So the name. Do you remember what the guard's name is?
Jeremy Bearimy. I don't.
Well, I'm gonna say one guard is named Sunny Liquor, and the other guard is Viviana Westwood.
It's Westwood. I know.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we get. Because I was wondering, because I remember that like this is like, a bit gory, but what I remember was the cheek getting like really like his lips basically being shredded off and just like seeing his teeth.
Yeah, that was from like a punch too.
Yeah. So he opens up the. I'm pretty sure he opens up the gate and tells the inmates to Fight Club.
Yeah, he literally says it's Fight Club time or something.
He's a man who's only seen Fight Club once.
I unironically knew people in college.
I mean, this is Florida, so like, I am Tyler Durden, and get ready.
I unironically knew people in college who saw Fight Club and were like, "We should start a Fight Club." Like, they actually wanted to start a Fight Club. Like,
people
unironically.
These are the same people that love Anna Sui and think he's like the best.
What, they have four brain cells?
4 brain cells, and be like, they're so cute together. Look at them, their interaction. He stared at her lovingly while she was horrified.
What other creepy relationships would they like?
This is like Joker Harley Quinn.
Yes, exactly. There we go.
Aaron and Mikasa.
That's not a relationship.
Well, it's a one-sided relationship.
One of them sees this as a relationship.
One of them is a one-sided relationship that people like, oh my god, I totally shipped them together.
Tanjiro and Nezuko.
Oh, shut up. No, they probably shipped that fucking blonde-haired boy.
I don't know his name.
But trying to think of what's some other one-side technically Goku and Chi-Chi. Trying to think. There's some other one I'm trying to think. Oh, Sakura and Sasuke. That's one. Even though they had a kid, it is a one-sided relationship. Completely throughout the entirety of that show. Is there anything you watch you could think of from one side?
Homer and Marge Simpson.
What? Who?
No, I'm kidding.
Homer and Marge? Peter and Lois?
Peter and Lois. No, Peter and Lois have a deep, caring relationship.
I'm trying to think of some other. If you know some of these like one-sided relationships that are like hilarious that people like take way too seriously, put comments.
All right.
Along with the Quest test that's coming later.
The Quest test. Thank you for remembering that.
I will always remember the Quest test now until the third batch after a year. I'll forget about it unless someone reminds me before. But so yeah, we get the fight happen, and instead of like everybody like starting brawling, like they're throwing a chair, like the guard goes right for Jolene and he does some great. I do like how much of a CQC fight this is.
Yeah, that's what the animation was good. Like the parts when he like bounces off the walls and stuff are really fun.
It's probably one of the better animated fights we're probably gonna get in this batch. I'm gonna assume.
It's funny because like this arc is just fights essentially.
Yeah.
So they really had to be economical about it.
I think that's probably works better for animation for having a actual CQC fight involving like submission moves.
Yeah.
It's essentially a wrestling match or MMA versus wrestling match of like having like submissions and having like spots to like break out of it.
Mm-hmm. We do reach like potentially some of the most insane levels of like time being paused during the meteorite segments, though. Like,
Yes.
Jolene hasn't time for like entire monologues, while the meteorite should be like
she also can see the
2 seconds from her.
meteorites falling, even though it should be like fucking lightning fast, burnt coming
That's
at
what
her.
at first I like that. Like, she doesn't even see them because they're moving so fast and they're so small.
Once you recognize it, you can see.
Yeah, it's literally like.
Also sees the little goblin inmate that steals the bone. Remember, imagine just being like, free out of like a massive carrier, and you see a little weird bone in the middle of the ground. Like, I should take that and wander off.
It's
to
like the One Ring. It like calls to you.
like, cast, give that to me. No, destroy that bone. No.
But
or does like she goes to grab it, he does the Bilbo thing, the face.
the Bilbo.
But like, so yeah, the fight happens. Very, like I say, very good CG, like very brutal fight. Like they do like the toenail rip.
Oh, the toenail part literally made me scream out loud.
Ugh.
It was really brutal.
The biggest thing to horrify somebody is to remove toenail. There's like,
she doesn't want to just remove the toenail. She wants to like use that to like rip skin all the way up through his leg. It's so gross.
There's one part in like Yakuza 0 where like the one of your guys gets like tortured, and it's like, it involves the toes, and you're just like, oh, and you're like, I really gotta fucking destroy this guy who's doing it, because fuck that, man. Like, you don't even have to show it to get the pain, and they show like they felt they do the different colors thing to get like not show you completely it, but like, oof, I can't. Toenails is one of those injuries.
It's brutal. It's one of those things. It's like
it's one of my biggest fears.
You know that thing where like people have a problem like when they see a dog dying in a movie and they feel like they actually see a dog die?
Yes.
I feel that way with toenail injuries in movies. Like normally when I see an injury in a movie, it's like, ha, that's funny. But a toenail injury, it's like it feels real. Like my brain processes this as like real, and I'm empathizing immediately.
Guy had his ankle broken, fine. Guy had an eardrum ruptured, fine.
That's totally whatever, fine.
But no.
Toenail.
How do you feel about Johnny Joestar?
Oh, just drink the tea to make your toenails grow
fingernails.
faster.
Do you think if Johnny Try could shoot his toenails?
Doesn't he do that?
I think he only shoots his fingernails. I'm pretty sure.
He must do that, right? There must be at least one fight where he shoots his fingernails.
I'm pretty sure it's only fingernails. And yeah, but like, what do you think?
I'm gonna type in Johnny Joestar toes.
Toes. Give me those quadriplegic toes.
Well,
Jim,
not quadriplegic.
Well, temporarily.
Paraplegic.
Paraplegic. I don't fucking know. I'm very bad at terms.
Quadriplegic would be he can't move his arms or legs.
Okay.
It's right. He fucking uses his toenails.
So he does. He only does that once, though?
I don't know. He's in too many fights where he runs out of his fingernails.
Jim wants his delicious toes.
That's disgusting. He's in too many fights where he runs out of his fingernails. That he
Which is really funny because like Mista never like always has ammo in his I think only one time where the ammo misses and he has like one bullet.
He literally does it in like the first fight. He uses his toenails.
It's East Revolver Ocelot where he has like 10 shots.
Yeah.
And he does like finger move, like finger jive, and it's like just shoots them.
Yeah, it's Pork Pie Hat Kid.
Pork Pie, he shoots a child.
Kills him dead.
Because what's it called? Prosciutto's inside Eyes of Heaven, and like he does his super where he basically ends it with like the executing and shoot him in the head like he did the Mista, and like you could fight what's his name Shingeki, and it was like he just like it's not child murder if I age him up to an old man. But like but the fight's very cool. I was also saw the part when she puts like the string into his ear. And like, man,
brutal.
You probably could just shut off his brain by going in his ear alone.
Yeah, she could easily sever his brainstem,
and like they have, but I do like seeing the string. Like, there's a one image where he sees like the string going in from her muscle from her to her finger. Like, I love that image of that. It's very
really cool, but it's weird because he is a stand user, so he should just be able to see the stand. But it's cool.
Yeah.
At first, we don't know that, and we just think that he's using Survivor like by proxy to see her stand.
Yeah, it's just a benefit, but she can see the muscles as well, which I'm assuming that makes her
she's affected by Survivor. Yeah.
Yeah, minorly, but not like being blind raged of it.
That's the thing that is kind of confusing. She doesn't seem to be under the effects of Survivor, but she has like that benefit. Of Survivor.
Unless like her being able to just kick his shin, break it, this is part of it. But she's also wearing like fucking combat boots.
Because like, I would say like you could maybe just say she's like also aggro state, but there's a part where she sees the bone and decides that's going to get her through this. So I would say that she's using like
The bone
higher
is,
level thought than just like
the bone is
pure
blackened,
anger.
so that's the weak spot of him.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's horrible, like horrific injuries. But she also gets affected by planet waves, as we see. I love its stupid phase, like the.
Yeah, it looks really funny. It also is muscular. We see the whole like in the eye catch. They show the whole Stan's body.
Yeah,
And it looks like muscular, and I really wondered why they made that choice.
he's also like learning to use his stand at some also during it, which is kind of interesting. I kind of like that.
Yeah, he doesn't quite understand. It's almost like he doesn't really have control over it, which is also interesting. I like that element.
He
to
might
it.
have control over it, but like he can like I think he can turn it off and on, but like it just when he turns it on, it just keeps coming at him. So it just takes a different time to like call in the meteorite. Because cause it only like it comes towards him. Like I do love stands like that. That like we just talking about completely stand, but this is just like it makes meteors fall. It aims towards him, but it burns up when it gets close to him. I kind of really love that though. Like
Yeah,
it's not overly complicated.
No, yeah. Honestly, this one is pretty good. I will say this one like is a good.
It's probably the best one out of the maximum security.
I liked this one a lot better on this watch than when I read through. I remember not liking this fight at all.
I think
when
I
read
said CQC fights work better in animation. It can't.
Mhm.
They all can't be Gappy beating up the twins, the Apex twins. So, but yes, we get some brutal stuff with it. We see he's saying satellites. I keep want to say satellites for some reason, but the meteorites like passing through, like hitting Jolene brutally. Chunks of her are just like there's holes in her.
She gets fucked up.
She sews up one of her wounds with a string. I'm like,
He doesn't even know how many times he hits her. He's like, did I hit you like 5, 6 times? I don't know. You're fucked.
but basically it just accumulates to her stealing his boot, filling it with a brick, so the meteorite hits the boot brick and KOs him.
Yeah, I don't like this ending. It's a little contrived.
It's a
Also, the amount of time, because they explain this to each other like twice in the time that the meteorite is falling towards her. It's like, it's just too. It needs to be quicker.
yeah, but she also loses her jacket. Her
Yes,
prison jacket
I
is
cheered.
gone.
I cheered when that
You do not
happened.
like the jacket look.
No, it just looks bad. It does not look good on her. I like to me,
If it had-
Jolene needs to just have her tank top.
Yeah, I think the tank top is a better
Or
look, but I
whatever.
wish maybe if the jacket wasn't like the gray, maybe.
Yeah, if it was a different color, I don't like that gray either. That didn't.
But
Didn't
yeah,
really
she's finally
work
lost.
for me.
She does her pose to her symbol. I do love the string coming out. I love when stands come out of the birthmark, or stuff,
Yeah,
or
that
abilities
part's
come out of the
pretty good.
birthmark,
I like
like
that.
how the bubbles came out of Gappy's birthmark. I love seeing that shit.
It's pretty cool.
But yeah, overall, I think this was probably the one of the better animated things of Part 6.
This has been like a high for part, especially the last episode. Like episode 15,
13 and 14.
whatever like the last one we just watched.
Yeah, the Limp Bizkit.
No, sorry. I mean like
Oh.
the one that we watched like minutes ago before we started
Oh.
recording. That the actual fight with Planet Waves and Jolene probably is one
Yeah.
of the better looking ones. I would say.
Oh yeah, as I said, they benefited of
it.
having to do like a heavy movement fight and do it better. But where we have high, we're going to probably have lows.
The depths of despair.
Drake's dream. So before we anything else before we get to the Gwest test,
No, that's everything I really have about this episode.
if they opened it and if Gwest was one in Master Security, would Gwest be able to take out Planet Wave / Survivor / the user?
She would be a much smaller target.
But she could keep her distance while they're fighting while shrinking him slowly. So by the time he wants to go fight her, he'll be small and she steps on him and kills him.
She can
But-
make herself small, right? Or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, never mind.
I do not think she shrinks herself. I don't think she does.
I don't know if that would really benefit her in this fight.
Do you think she would be able to beat this guy?
I would say no. I think her anger would get the best of her. I think Survivor in this situation.
She would step on the water?
I think Survivor would mess Gwess up and would make her act poorly in this fight, and she would lose.
I don't know.
Because okay, think about how dangerous Planet Waves would be if he's really tiny and the meteorites are still targeting his tiny little body. He could just jump on like your throat and then.
Well, and don't forget, Goo Goo Dolls can also has claws
That's true.
that she can big meaty claws.
I still think that just by making him a smaller target, if anything, just makes his meteors more precise because he could jump on her like throat or her like tit or something, and then a meteor would go right through her throat and or tit.
I don't know, man. Because it does take time for her to shrink stuff, but I feel like if she can like CQC long enough, she can like.
Does it? I thought it's like pretty instantaneous.
I don't think it's like I don't
Little Feet takes time.
Little Feet takes time with these multiple like stabs. I kind of feel like she shrunk Julian like kind of slowly.
I don't remember. It was like years ago.
But
when
I think she had a chance for the Gwest test.
I'm against it. Fans, listeners,
Gwest fans, rise up.
say GT for Gwest test, and then
Gwest gang.
Say in your comment, whatever your comment is at the end, right? GT for Gwest test, and then say yes or no. Would Gwest win or would Gwest lose? Yes would be win, no means lose. Or just say Gwest win, Gwest lose.
Gwest win. Gwest always wins.
Or say GT lose, GT win.
GT wins. The Grand Tour wins.
All right.
Anything else to say about this?
No.
What do you think about Dragon Dream coming up next?
I'm not looking forward to it.
You sure you want to see this old man with a CGI dragon? Are you ready for Feng Shui?
Is this the one where spoiler Foo Fighters' head gets sliced open?
Probably. I other
she
than
gets,
the ability,
scalped.
I literally purged a lot of this arc from my brain and this is like a lot of people will consider the worst, but this is also going to be the most fascinating where people are coming out of the woodwork like, oh, Dragon Dream was such actually underrated or underappreciated stand fight. It's actually very good.
I have to look at the Dragon Dream CG model. It's going to be CG.
I'm going to hate looking at Dragon Dream fans.
No.
People coming out of the woodwork, it's actually a deep and meaningful stand.
I look at Dragon Dream fans every day when I look in the mirror. When I brush my teeth.
Hey, we had to deal with like Blue Hawaii fans, where you had to. I don't mind Blue Hawaii.
No, it was really the California King Bed hate squad.
Oh, the A squad, the A tier California King
squad,
Bed.
Yeah.
Or a lot of the Wonder Review Toru fans. I'm like, how?
What was it called? Who's the spinny one? The Doobie-Wah. The Doobie-Wah fans.
Doobie-Wah?
The Doobie-Wah fans really came for our throats that day.
Yeah, that is so funny, that tier list.
All right.
A classic.
Yeah. Iconic moments in Joe Kakaka history.
Jim will die on that hill.
All right.
Wrap
JoJo.
it up?
Yeah. Plug up the holes in Jolene's fucking
Everybody has multiple
knuckles
holes.
and horror. The part when she punches the meteors and her knuckles are like
damaged
as much as if she just let them hit her.
Fucking gory, dude.
She should have just like avoided them.
She'd be nothing left of her, but
she should have made a baseball glove out of
she
her.
She has 2 bullet holes in her stomach still. This girl is messed up.
Why didn't she make like a bullet weave like she did last time?
Why should 60 Spider-Man where she can just make like a catcher's mitt out of like web or out of the string and then simply catch the meteorites?
True, and simply redirect them. Make a big tube so she just redirects them.
That is such like old fucking cartoon anime logic. It just be like, I'm just thinking about like Magneto getting the wooden gun and just having a mental breakdown. It's just like, but you stepped on a puddle. There's no way you should have been affected by a survivor. I was wearing shoes. Current can't rubber. I was wearing rubber shoes, and it didn't electric impulse didn't connect through my feet to my brain.
Yeah, it's a good thing that nobody was wearing rubber shoes that day.
No, not single person. They don't give you rubber shoes. Despite the fashion they give you in this prison, they don't not give you rubber shoes.
It's their one rule.
The one rule. All right, let me wrap this up.
Let's do it.
Thank you all very much for listening. Put a comment, subscribe, like the video. You know the YouTube junk. Hit the bell. You can follow the podcast on Twitter or via Jim separately, or also you can join the Discord. And that we will see you next time in Drake's Dragon. Drake,
the 101 Deeds of Jake the Dragon. What's that
American
one?
Dragon Drake Long.
Yeah, American Dragon Drake Long.
Drake Long.
Drake.
Degrassi star and Canadian rapper Drake.
I want fan art of Drake, the rapper, as Jake Long from the American Dragon.
Dressing
series.
up as Drake Bell from in prison as he currently is. Mexican musician star Drake Bell. You know that, right?
Yes. Oh, I'm very.
He changed his name and then got arrested. They just shipped him back to get arrest him.
I'm very aware of the.
Apparently, if you're just a famous Drake, you're just going to be a bad person. So. And with that, we will see you in the Dragon's Dream, unfortunately.
I'll try to wake up from that.
Yeah, you're falling asleep.
Nightmare.
You're falling asleep just thinking about it.
I know. All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.